Hello, hello, hello. Okay. You can start? Okay. Start. You can start, right? You can start? Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? So first of all, thanks for joining our session, and happy Friday as well, right? So before we, start our presentation, let's just take a situation where, let's assume, it's a fine Friday evening. We are still into Friday morning, but let's just take it's a Friday evening, and everyone is just preparing for the wrap up. They have their evening plans, and suddenly you get an email saying that something is not working in production, right? So you have your evening plans, and then you have this email as well now. So we don't have any other option. We definitely have to work to solve this issue. So what next what happens is Sitecore team will start looking if there is anything wrong from the Sitecore perspective. Probably front end team can see if there is anything wrong on the front end aspect, or maybe there is something wrong on the DevOps side also. Maybe something is wrong in the deployment side. So now what we see is like there are different teams working towards the same goal, right? They are just trying to figure it out what actually went wrong. So this kind of process, right, this can typically takes maybe 1 hour, it can take 2 hours, it can go beyond 2 hours, maybe it can, we can fix that in 15 minutes also. So everything depends on the kind of problem we are into, right? So, how about, if we leverage, AI for this one, like for our troubleshooting, right? This can save us, this can save our Friday evening, or for that matter, any evening, right? So that's exactly what we are trying to cover as part of today's session. We will see how we can actually leverage Sitecore AI for our troubleshooting, right? But before we start, let me just introduce myself. My name is Ankit Joshi. I have over 14 years of experience, primarily working on digital and CMS space, working across architecture, development, and some of the digital initiatives as well. I have been Sitecore MVP for many years. That has actually given me an opportunity to work towards the community, contribute some sort of contribution, some sort of collaboration, and knowledge sharing as well. And yeah, I'm really happy to share how AI can be leveraged to bring some sort of efficiency in our troubleshooting. I also have Arpana with me. She will be she will be giving the demo and some other aspects of this presentation. So Arpana, can you just?
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Arpana. I have close to 12 plus years of experience in digital industry. I'm Sitecore certified professional and also led multiple Sitecore engagements. Currently, I'm mainly focusing on expanding my expertise in AI space to provide AI-driven solution. I'm excited to share our learnings with you all today.
Yeah. So here is a quick agenda. We'll be talking about some of the challenges normally we face in our troubleshooting environment. So the challenge is one part of it. Then we will also see what is our vision, what is our idea, how we are exactly going to fix this troubleshooting issues, and if there is any improvement which we can bring in here. We'll also see about the architecture and how the information really flows system to system. So we'll see what different systems we will be leveraging for this solution. Then it will be we'll also do a quick deep analysis of how the analysis will be done and how the detection approach will be done by AI, which will be followed with a quick live demo. And then we also have something something as part of our plan, that because this system is not 100% stable, right? Like there could be several other things which we think can be added as an extension to this feature. So we'll talk about what those enhancements are. Anyway, it is not part of that, but it is into our vision that those things can be done. So talking about the challenges, these are some of the challenges normally we face in our whenever we basically talk about troubleshooting, specifically in the Sitecore environment, right? So the very first thing which we normally see, right? See, let's say from the Sitecore environment perspective, right? Sitecore, what Sitecore does is it generates lot of errors, like basically logs, right? Several hundreds and several thousands of logs every day. So sometimes we really don't know what exactly matters to us, because there are thousands of entries in the log file, right? So that is what I feel is the biggest challenge in as part of our troubleshooting, because so now we are also talking about different connected system. It is not the conventional way how we were basically delivering things before. Now we are talking about a dedicated backend system. We are talking about a dedicated front end system. We have we can also have search systems, our product information management system. We can have several other integration as well. So and each system is actually generating their own logs, right? So we basically have to go to those individual systems and do a sort of mining there, and then get the information out of it. Because right now what we see is it's just plain data, right? We have a lot of data with this, but we don't have any insightful information out of it, right? So the volume of data is what I feel is the main and biggest challenge, and as part of our troubleshooting. Then I think, as I mentioned, like we talk about the interconnected system. We talk about the headless architecture, where everything is distributed. We have different systems. Nothing is not like in one system bundled up, right? So we have to. One team is working on specifically on Sitecore side. One is working on the front end side, and like that, right? So overall, if you see all these things, right, our the resolution speed, right? So resolution speed basically it basically goes down, right? Because the team has to basically set up and check the logs across different systems. One more challenge which I see is some sort of subject matter expert knowledge, right? Because let's say we got some issue, right, and our business user and our business content authors, right? So they will not be able to see what exactly the issue is. They can see, okay, something is going wrong, but they will not be able to evaluate where and what went wrong. So that's where they have to reach out to some subject matter expert to see, okay, to find out what is the issue. So dependency on the expert is also something which is very important. Intelligent recommendation is something, let's say, because we have a lot of information in the form of data, right? Different systems are generating logs, so we have this information, but we really don't see a dedicated system where which can actually do some sort of deep dive and do a mining and then see what is relevant to us. So we are really missing some kind of intelligent recommendations. And I think, yeah, so this is what normally we have, challenges, but there could be many other challenges. I'm pretty sure you must have faced, different kind of challenges whenever you have worked in Sitecore. But these are some of the challenges. So now, in the next slide, we will try to see what is our vision of, AI-driven intelligence or AI, driven troubleshooting here. So I will let Arpana to basically give some more ideas on that.
Thank you, Ankit. So we have seen why we have, think about generating this, creating this agent like AI-powered troubleshooting agent. So now let's understand what is the vision of it, what problem we are going to solve. So the goal is pretty simple. We want to convert large volume logs into, uh, you know, uh, insightful recommendation. So that's what we are trying to achieve. Let's AI do the hardship. Let's AI do the hard lifting and analyze the different logs, correlate the system, identify the root cause, and provide us the right recommendation. So that's what here the vision is mainly. We have a different like system, Sitecore AI or Versal, and any other infrastructure system. And then what we are achieving is faster root cause identification, intelligent and actionable recommendation, correlating the insights. And then it is actually reducing the dependency on experts, and the resolution is faster and will be more efficient. So now we understand what is the, what we are trying to achieve. Let's see how we are going to achieve it. And I'll let Ankit to, yeah, explain.
Yeah. So let's just try to understand the architecture and how the information, as I mentioned before, how this information flow happen within the system. So on the left hand side, you see like we have different sort of data sources. Right now, we are just talking about Sitecore AI and Versal logs. But as I mentioned, there is no limit in terms of data sources, because logs are actually being generated into different part of the systems, right? But for the sake of this presentation, we are leveraging Sitecore AI and Versal. So we'll be pulling the operational data from these two systems, and then this data will be passed over to a different system. So on the right hand side, we have another system by name Signos. So Signos is something we are using as a log aggregator platform, right? So what this system does is like basically it holds all the data coming in from these different data sources. Right now, whatever logs and events information we have on our Sitecore AI system, this will get pushed to Signos. Similarly, whatever information we have coming from the front-end application, that will also get pushed to Signos. So now the Signal basically holds all the information, like all the connected, like from the complete ecosystem perspective, whatever connected systems we have, all the data goes to Signos. But one thing I would like to mention here is there is no direct synchronization happening between Sitecore AI and Versal to Signos, right? Because that was not part of the scope. But if really it is required, definitely the synchronization can be done, and the logs information can be pushed seamlessly to the Signos platform. Again, one more point I would like to add here is that this Signos system is just like like Datadog, right? It can be replaced by any other system. So there is no hard and fast that you really have to go for Signos, right? So it can be any system. Now, if you go further, there are two other key components you can see on the right-hand side. So the very first being AI layer. So AI layer is something which is powered by Azure OpenAI. This is the primary, this is the most important component of this complete architecture. This is where the complete intelligence happens, right? So what happens is, let's say if we take an example of the Friday evening mess up, right? So let's say as an user, I'll just say why my campaign page is not working, or why some of the components are missing from my campaign page, right? So that is just the plain text I'll put there in my Next.js application, and that text or that prompt will be taken as an input for this AI layer, and then AI layer will do some sort of expressions. It will bind the expression there, and that expression will be passed over to the query engine. So what is query engine here? Query engine is nothing but it will basically create the request, right, based on the expression which is passed by this AI layer, and then this query engine request will go to Signos. Signal will basically take this request, and the information then passed over back to AI layer. Now, at this point of time, AI layer has all the data, right? Like based on whatever prompt we have written, whatever time range we have given, so it has all the information. And then AI layer will do basically further processing on top of it, right? Where exactly what went wrong, and try to give some intelligent insight. So that's exactly we have tried to show as part of the interaction flow as well. We have the Next.js application. We are using the prompts in the plain English. Then it will basically do some sort of expressions building. It will pass over to the query engine. Query engine, gives data to Signos, and then Signos basically gives to AI layer, and then it will be displayed on the front-end application in a nice manner. So about the key technologies, as we mentioned, we are leveraging Signos as an log aggregator platform. We are using Azure OpenAI, and by the way, this is using GPT 5.1. We are using JSON query engine, which is again for querying the Signos. We are using Versal, and we are using Azure AI. So this is on a very high level about the architecture of this system, how we are going to leverage AI for our troubleshooting. In the next slide, we will see how AI is actually breaking it down into different pieces, and how how the analysis and the root detection approach really works. So I let Arpana to basically take it from here.
Yep. Let's see. Let's deep dive a little bit more how we are how AI is converting raw logs into actionable insight. So we know that context is very important for AI. We don't want AI to hallucinate and give any recommendation or fixes. So we are trying to build context here first. So what we are doing is we are centralizing the log collection. We have also given the GraphQL endpoint, which actually fetches the complete Sitecore structure so that it will not hallucinate, and it takes that context of Sitecore and give the proper recommendation. So what after centralizing the log collection, the AI-powered log analysis is parsing the log, reducing the noise. It's basically filtering the key entities and picking the right log which is essential and needed for to fix the issue basically. And it is actually correlating all the system log, so that it is connecting the dots and finding the right root cause. So it will map the dependency, identify the source. That is what is happening, and then it provides the intelligent recommendation. So if you see, it provides the suggest fixes. So it provides complete next step, what needs to be done with a confidence score. So it can be like, let's say, with the log and the context, AI is 95% sure. So it provides the complete confidence score. It also gives the lesser score as well, where it is not too confident about. So we should be picking up the higher confidence score, which is displayed. So then all these things are presented clearly in a simplified UI front end. So that is what is happening. So I think we have done a lot of talking, and then let's go to the demo part of it. So yeah, so we all remember what Ankit has shared in the beginning, the campaign story, where the campaign page is not the campaign page, but the component of the campaign page is breaking few of them. So this is the demo website which we have created, and client has created one summer saving campaign page where they have beautiful banner and then some content below it. But you see, this page looks incomplete, and that's what is happened. So few critical component from this page, got just gets removed, and no one knows why. So if I'm using a traditional way of investigating it, an incident will be raised, and the developer will start looking into this. But since we have this agent created. So this is something which we have created, Sitecore AI Troubleshoot. So let me just first describe what it has. It has AI diagnostic engine. So that is the core feature of our application. You see the prompt here, where we can, put our prompt in plain text. Then the engine analyzes the GraphQL schema, analyzes the logs, and then it provides the root cause and provides also the recommendation. So you see below we have time range. So you can also provide the time range, whether it is 24 hours or past 3 days or 7 days. We have also option to provide the custom time range. Then we have an option to choose the suggested prompt. This is basically the prompt which gets suggested by AI based on the last 15 days of error which it is getting. But I'll write like this: why FAQ is not displaying in campaign page. So I have just given, plain text. Not even I have written the right name of the page. I have written the component name, and then I have written the page. So what is happening in the backend? So, the AI is now converting the plain text into expression, which is then used by query engine, and it creates a proper request for Signos, and Signos provides the right logs out of it. Parallelly, we are also connecting with Sitecore, providing the right context like the component and the page structure, all those things. And that's how AI is now trying to, all those context is provided to AI, and AI is trying to figure out the root cause, and that's what it will provide the recommendation and the right next steps for us. So yeah, once analysis is done, you will see some summary below it. So it says that FAQ component has some validation of providing the 4 items, but right now in Sitecore there are 3 items which is configured, and it gives these details. It also, when we see the fixed recommended fixed steps, so it provides the complete path name from of FAQ, like what is the path of FAQ page item under the campaign page. So it creates the complete, step-by-step task for us. And then if we come a little bit more down, then it also shows the validation checklist, like what needs to be done as a validation once we publish and change everything. It actually provides, when we come a little bit more down, it will provide the Sitecore items that is required to correct, So I'll just, if you see here, the path of item is summer saving campaign and FAQ, and that's what, this is my Sitecore instance, and this is the page, and this is the FAQ item. So that is how it finds the complete log and try to provide the root cause of it. Yeah, I think I'm done with the demo. Maybe I'll also explain on the logs tab. So since Ankit has mentioned that synchronization of log is not right now happening, it is not automated. So we have provided one option here wherein we are able to upload log files from Vercel or from Sitecore. So that are the format which is right now acceptable, and logs gets ingested to Signos. So yeah, so this is something which we wanted to show as a demo. And then, what next? Let me just share it again. Yeah. Yeah, what's next as part of our implementation? So there are a couple of things which we want to, enhance, which we want to do to enhance our system. So first is pattern and anomaly detection. So identify the recurring failures. Right now, it is completely working on the prompt which we have given, but we also want to identify the recurring failure which is happening in log, and hidden operation pattern which is happening in log, and then become a major incident in future. So that is something which we want to do to enhance our agent. And then there is a proactive detection. So right now, as you say, again, it is working on prompt. So we want to continuously monitor the platform health and alert teams based on any potential issue that might impact the business. And then automated remediation. So right now, again, it is more about providing the steps, the recommendation, but nothing is happening, and changes is not happening directly inside. So that is what something which we will try to automate it. And then knowledge learning and continuous improvement, obviously, wherein from the past historical incidents. The insights and recommendation can be improved. So that is what we will achieve from continuous improvement. I would like Ankit.
Yeah. So what are the takeaways, from here, right? So, see, one thing which we can say is AI is definitely not going to solve your production issues, right? Maybe it can solve, down the line, but at this point of time, we really cannot expect AI to solve our production issues. But where AI can really pitch in is, like, AI can definitely, make our troubleshooting faster and smarter, right? So that is something which we can really expect from AI. And with that, we would like to, do a wrap here, and we would like to thank our sponsors, and yeah, we would like to thank our sponsors and organizers for organizing this event, and giving us this opportunity to present. We really appreciate that. And that's it. Happy Friday again.